If you're already struggling with debt, the last thing you need is to pay for help without knowing what free options exist first. Some debt help is free and some debt help can come with fees. Before you agree to anything, you need to check 3 things. Who's giving the advice, what it costs, and what risks come with the plan. Because the dangerous part is not always the first phone call. It's the form that you sign when you're stressed, tired, and just want the letters to stop. This is before you sign UK. We check the small print in claims, contracts, scams and money decisions before ordinary people commit. And today we're not saying that every paid debt service is bad. We're not saying never pay for help, and we're not recommending a debt solution. We're checking what you should ask before you pay for debt help. Here's the first check. Before paying anyone, check whether free debt advice is available first. Gov.uk points people towards free confidential debt advice. MoneyHelper has a debt advice locator for free support. National Debt Helpline offers a free debt advice. Step Change says its debt management plan is free and that all money goes towards your paid debts. And PayPlan also says its DMPs are free to set up and manage. That doesn't mean that one of these is automatically right for you, and it doesn't mean that a DMP is the answer. It simply means this: before you pay a fee, you should know what the free routes are, because if 2 routes are dealing with the same problem, then the cost matters. Now, if a provider charges a fee, the question is not just how much is it. The better question is, what happens to my money? With a debt management plan, you usually make 1 monthly payment and the provider distributes the money to your creditor. But if fees are taken from that payment, less money may go towards the debt, especially early on. Citizens Advice say a fee charging DMP provider must tell you how much they will charge you before you agree. If they cannot give you the exact amount, they should explain how the fee is worked out. They should also explain how the fees affect the length of the plan and the total amount that you repay. That's the bit people can miss. The fee is not just a number. It can affect how long the debt takes to clear. The next check is risk. A debt management plan might sound like relief. 1 payment, less pressure, someone dealing with creditors. But that doesn't mean the risk disappears. With a DMP, Citizens Advice say creditors do not have to freeze interest and charges. They might still refuse to cooperate and they might still contact you. And paying less each month can mean the debt takes longer to repay. That doesn't make DMP good or bad. It just means you need proper advice before agreeing to it. And the same principle applies to other debt solutions. IVAs, DROs, bankruptcy, DMPs. These are not just labels. They can affect your credit file, your assets, your future borrowing, and what you're expected to pay. So be careful with any advert that makes a solution sound quick, clean, or guaranteed. Debt help should explain trade-offs, not just sell the relief. Here's another small print check. Who's giving the advice? The FCA says firms that give debt advice must be authorised by the FCA and follow its rules. That matters because debt advice can push someone towards a serious financial decision. And in 2023, the FCA banned debt packager referral fees. Why? Because it had concerns that some firms could be incentivised to refer people into debt solutions that were not suitable for them. That doesn't mean that every paid provider is doing something wrong, but it does mean incentives matter. So before you sign, check. Are they authorised? Are they giving advice or passing you to someone else? Are they being paid because you enter a certain solution? And have they shown you free debt advice options? One more thing. Before you agree, check how you can leave. If there's a fee, what happens if you cancel? Do you get any refund? Is there a cancellation charge? Is there a cooling off period? Citizens Advice say when you enter a DMP agreement, you should be given information about your right to cancel, whether you'll get a refund of fees and whether you will be charged a cancellation. That is not something to find out later. You want it in writing before you agree, because the worst time to understand a contract is after you already feel trapped by it. So the simple version is this: do not panic sign debt help. Do not assume paid means better, and do not assume free means basic. And don't assume that any debt solution is risk-free. Before you pay, check 4 things. Is free debt advice available first? What exactly are the fees? What risks come with the plan? And how do you cancel? This is not personal financial advice. It's a small print warning. When you're under pressure, the promise of help can feel urgent. But before you commit, check what you're signing. Before you sign UK, check the small print before you commit.